And welcome back to part 2 of What If Naruto Had a Zanpakuto, the Ichimonji edition. Now, I did have someone ask me in the comments what Ichimonji was. Obviously, Ichimonji is the Zanpakuto Naruto gets for this particular What If. And of course, as I mentioned too, we will be redoing this What If for as long as there is different Zanpakuto to do it with. I'm just adjusting, sorry. And with the new chapter and the possible actual legitimate return of the manga, possibly, looks like we're going to be getting some news on Zanpakuto to add on to that list. And you know what? It's all good. But we're not here to talk about that at the moment. We're here to continue from part 1. Last time in part 1, Naruto obtained Ichimonji. Now, Naruto does not have access to Ichimonji Shikai at this time. But Ichimonji is a very unique Zanpakuto. It's one of the only Zanpakuto, and there is one or two other ones that do something beyond their Shikai and Bankai, that has an ability prior to, releasing the Zanpakuto itself. And that is obviously the ability to cut the metaphysical name of something in half, taking away half of whatever that thing's power is. You cut an arm, you got to round down, obviously, or round up, depending on what you're, it's round down. Round up. Because you cut an arm and it becomes an R and you lose half its power because it's an odd letter word. But you get the meaning behind it. Naruto basically has taken the Shikai surprisingly well and has learned a little bit of Ichimonji's name. Right now he knows it as Ichi. But as it stands, he understands it's going to take us some time for him to learn, Ichimonji's true name and all that. But because of what Ichimonji is, it's a paintbrush, or it's a calligraphy brush, a very big one, mind you. Naruto's also started to take to sealing, because Ichimonji also has the ability, as just a brush, to create seals, barriers, and disguise seals, particularly, is what we saw it do in the manga. It might have other abilities too, but that's what it's capable of doing. And to be fair, Naruto could in fact use it to make like a giant explosive tag seal and just blow off a chunk of earth. But more importantly, this has caused Naruto to, look into seals. Right now, all he's really figured out is storage seals and explosive seals. But he's actually pretty well versed in those at the moment because his Uzumaki heritage means he's kind of naturally inclined for seals. But anyway, we skip ahead now to the actual graduation, not the graduation exam, but the graduation ceremony, the team selection. Naruto is busy walking around. He's got Ichimonji strapped to his back. The brush part, leans down, and everyone's looking at Naruto, and you're just looking at him. He's still got the orange jumpsuit, but now he's got this kind of red, baggy, basically kind of something akin to the captain's hori, or captain's cloak, if you will, captain's jacket. Hiyori, I think that's the name of it. Basically akin to that over it, with the flame pattern. I think of it like his sage cloak, but bigger and a bit baggier. He looks a bit more, like mysterious in many ways. He's still wearing his orange jumpsuit underneath, though, because he did that with his sage cloak in the pain invasion. He still had his jumpsuit on there, too. But he's walking around. He's got Ichimonji on, like, a nice little strap on his back. And Ichimonji even, talks to him. By the way, Ichimonji will not be, like, a constant companion with him in terms of, like, always talking with him. But you'll definitely hear him chime in now and then when when he needs to. Like, for instance, he's like, "Are you excited about today, Naruto?" It's like, "Absolutely, I can't wait to see what team I'm going to be." "Well, from what you told me, you didn't do well in your grades, so don't be surprised if your team's not what you're expecting." That's a good point. Suddenly these little kids, walk up to him. And, surprisingly, they're not, because they're young kids. They don't know anything about the fear. Like, I'm talking about a little kids, like maybe 2 or 3. It's like, it's like, "Oh, hi." And it's like, "What's with the big brush?" It's like, "Oh, this is my friend here. He can talk to me." It's a magic brush. Kind of. It's a special thing, heirloom from my family. Be careful not to touch it, though. And, when the kids touch it, "Oh, crap." And the kid bops into it. It's like, "Oh, no." It's like, what is he? It's like, and then Ichimonji actually has, "Don't worry, Naruto. My ability doesn't work on an accidental level." Now, that's the thing. We actually don't know if Ichimonji's name-cutting ability can work if you were to accidentally bump into it. My guess is that it could, maybe, but my ultimate guess is, at least for this video, is like, Naruto needs to actually actively use it to attack someone with, or attack something with, and cut the name in half. So kids are, and Ichimonji explains that. She's like, "It's all right, Naruto. So my ability to cut names only works if you will it to." Without any malice, I'm simply just a brush otherwise. Furthermore, my abilities can't work. You're the only one who will ever have access to my abilities, so long as we are bounded together. So don't worry about the youngins. It's like, oh, it's okay. Look, it's easy. He's like, watch, and he actually paints. Not he doesn't paint like a kanji or anything or a seal. He paints just like a big picture for them, just like ta-da! It's like, oh, that's all. It's like, oh, and their parents are like, oh, come along now. Just stay away. Don't hang around that boy. Oh, bye, Mr. Naruto. It's like, bye, kids. They were nice kids, and the parents are still giving him a look, but they're also like a little confused. Like they don't remember him having this. Like a lot of people are just giving him looks. It's like, what is like? He wasn't being a brat or anything. He was actually being very nice and everything. He's like, okay, that was weird. Fox brat. Like they just don't know what to make of it. It's like, yeah, and you can see that. Not everyone hates him, like especially these little kids who haven't known anything about him. And so, hey, but he can't stop to think about that. He has got to get to the, he's got to get in there. And he makes it in there. And I actually don't remember if he was one of the first ones. We know he was early enough that other people still hadn't shown up yet. We know like Shikamaru was surprisingly there, Choji was there, Sasuke was there, Hinata was there. But like Ino and Sakura were there much later than he was. So anyway, he gets in. So I assume he got in there probably a little earlier to a couple of them. I bet he beats Shikamaru there, to be frank. Well, then again, Shikamaru's mom's someone who would have kicked his ass in the gear to get there, and then he could just sleep. I don't know. Sasuke probably would have definitely beaten him. Maybe he could have arrived there around the same time as Hinata or Shino. I don't know. It's a fair question because we just don't know who got there first. But anyway, he gets in there, and mainly when he steps in, a lot of the class is taking note of him. The fact that they haven't seen him since the graduation. They had heard some rumors that he might have picked up a new trick or something like that, but now actually looking at him, he's actually got a new wardrobe. He's actually looking pretty pimp in that cloak too. I actually really like that concept of turning the sage cloak into kind of like this baggy Hiyori, making him look a bit more like a sage monk a little bit. But they see it and are like, what the? And it's like, and Shikamaru's like, what the? Naruto? It's like, oh, hey. And everyone's just like, what's with that brush? And Sasuke's even like kind of paying attention to him. And he just sits down next to Sasuke, not thinking anything of it. And, he puts Ichimonji on the side and, he's just kind of like relaxing doing his thing. And surprising, it'd be Shikamaru who tries like, hey, Naruto, what the heck? What's with that brush? Oh, this is a heirloom I found out from my family. Is it your family? Say, oh yeah, the Uzumaki apparently have a really big history in the village, but unfortunately they were nearly wiped out in the last Great War, so I'm one of the only ones left. So this is kind of like an heirloom I found out I had. And the third agreed to let me keep it. And everyone's like, whoa. It's like, well, what does it do? And he keeps it's just a freaking paintbrush. What's it gonna do? We're gonna draw pretty pictures? And Naruto's like, it's like, it can do a lot more than that, mud. It's like, what do you call? It's like, oh, big talk from dead last. Yeah, trust me, I know exactly what this baby can do. So back off, unless you want to go toe to toe right now. It's like, oh, you sure Iruka Sensei wouldn't get you, or something? You sure you wouldn't get in trouble with Iruka Sensei? And Naruto's like, but Ichimon's like, calm down, Naruto. If you were to take him on, you wouldn't be able to use me. That was our agreement, and that was your agreement with the third as well. It's like, yeah, I know. I could take him on even without you. Don't worry. But Naruto's like settles back down. It's like, nah, he's not worth it anyway. And Sasuke, he's surprised to look over. It's like, what do you want? It's like, what do you want, Sasuke? It's like, he's just looking at Naruto. It's like, nothing. For the first time in a while, though, you caught my interest a little bit, but but whatever. It's like, what do you mean? You saying I'm not an interesting person? No. It's like, whatever. I mean, I don't care if you're interesting or not. You're not worth my time. Like, you son of a Ichimonji is like, oh boy. Meanwhile, Hinata's just looking for a part. It's like, you graduated. I'm glad. And all of a sudden they hear the whole, and they hear the rushing of Ino and Sakura. And obviously Naruto's like, Sakura. And Ichimonji is looking, I was like, oh, so this is the girl I heard you mentioned before. Because I'm sure he got brought up that he's got a thing for Sakura. It's like, oh, she seems cute enough. And then, hey, hey, Naruto, Sakura, why don't you say like to move it, Naruto? And she just kicks his ass right out of this. What a bitch, by the way. So, I mean, again, I hate when I don't like Sakura very much as a character, but she improved in the second half of the series, went down in the second half of the series, in the second half of the second series, and then she kind of perked back up. That was a weird statement. She improved again when she matured into Boruto. But yeah, Sakura was a bitch in part one. And, you know, he just gets knocked down. It's like, Sakura. It's like, what? It's like, that hurt. It's like, well, that was very rude of her. Why do you like this girl again, Naruto? It's like, well, she's awesome. It's like, she just pushed you down so she could go over and talk to her actual crush, Naruto. I don't believe that. I don't see. She might be on the pretty side for you humans, but I don't really see the interest. And Naruto's trying to make a defense about it, but it's coming up a little short. Like, he still gets in Sasuke's face, and that still leads to the infamous kiss. It's like, it seems you have more chemistry with that Sasuke boy than you do Sakura. Oh, shut up! It's like, and he realized that he can't sit next to these two. As much as he obviously, it's not like loves his crush for Sakura is going to disappear in that instant. But admittedly, Ichimonji's words are ringing in the head a little bit, and he keeps kind of harping. It's like, she doesn't seem to like you very much, Naruto. I'm not sure why you're trying to appease her. And Naruto admits, I think Naruto eventually decides to sit near an empty seat. Maybe not near Hinata, but just near an empty seat, just kind of like cool off from the whole incident. And in his head, he's having the conversation with Ichimonji, like, well, you don't understand. Like, she was the only one who actually gave me attention and stuff like that. And it's like, yes, but attention doesn't equate to love or equate to even liking someone, Naruto. It just means that they are paying attention to you. And I know your thirst for recognition, but you must understand, it's not worth taking unnecessary abuse. The abuse you've taken from the villagers, that's one thing. But to take adolescent abuse from a young girl simply for the sake that you like her, when she clearly does not like you back, is not worth it, Naruto. But then again, I'm just a sword. I can only guide you. What you do with your love and life is your own deal. Now, it would seem your sensei has arrived, and Naruto is now kind of flabbergasted by, like, because everything Ichimonji just said is true. Like, why does he put up with Sakura, like, doing that to him? Because he likes her. But why does he actually like her if she's that abusive to him? And now it's like, the conflict's there. Like, obviously, he still likes her. I'm not saying he still doesn't like her right now. But obviously, also, you can tell I'm not, at least not right now, I'm not leaning towards a Sakura-Naruto pairing. But that could easily, be honest, that could easily change. I always go with the pairing that just makes the most sense going by the story based on the change that was made. I'm not going to just set up say, okay, he's going to wind up with Sakura with this one, or hey, he's going to wind up with Ino with this one, or hey, he's going to wind up with Karin or Tamara or whatever. Or about, I want to say, not even more than 70, about 80% of the time, maybe 85% of the time, it generally ends with him and Hinata because that's just how the story went. Now, if the change in the what if allows for a different canon or relationship pairing, then all means, I'll do it. By all means, I've done it. I've done it before. And I've done it before. I'm not going to say who he's wound up with, obviously, but I've done it before. And anyone who can attest to that can attest to that. Or is watching me long enough can attest to that. It's just Hinata and Naruto usually make the most sense. But again, I'm not saying that's where I'm going with this. I'm not. Because we're only in part 2. We've got a long ways to go before any sort of real romance takes place. Plus, Ino also, gets on Naruto's case, too, about that. I actually see Naruto actually kind of telling Ino, just like, look, whatever, just you deal with it. I don't want to. Naruto actually kind of gets a little fed up with like how Sakura treated him a little bit as he's walking away, and to surprise, actually says, look, I don't want to deal with it right now. Okay, you want to deal with that? Fine, go ahead. I'm not in the mood to be treated like crap at the moment. So I'm here. I was excited. I was happy, and you know what? It just got ruined. So you know what? I'm gonna sit over here. I'm gonna mind my own business. Do what you want. Just leave me alone. I can actually see Naruto having a snapping moment like that. Because trust me, we have all had moments where we snap like that. And I can see Naruto just getting fed up a little bit, especially like when Ichimonji kind of just ringing in his ear about why this isn't healthy and why he shouldn't be taking it. And I can see Ino being legit. Sakura's just wrapped up in her own bullshit. But I can see Ino and Hinata and the few people paying attention to this whole debacle actually be legitimately shocked that Naruto actually stood up for himself in a way like that and kind of told off Ino a little bit. And Ino's kind of like taken back by this too. But she's less angry and more like, that's not how Naruto normally talks to us. And he just kind of sits there, takes Ichimonji, puts it back, just kind of huffs and just sits and kind of just had. That's where that whole conversation with Ichimonji just comes from. He's kind of just like having that conversation in his head, just sitting in there. Hinata's obviously kind of worried that Naruto normally can just take the hits, is like kind of didn't want to take it, but at the same time he stood up for himself, which endears him to her just a little bit more. Shikamaru's also like, wow, Naruto's actually kind of changed a little bit. And he was even like, huh, it looks like the Badork has more of a backbone than I thought. Meanwhile, then you cut to Iruka. And this is really just, I actually didn't mean to go this long in just this part of the story, but I think it's actually very prudent for character development down the line. And honestly, we still have enough time to get into like the main parts leading into the bell test. So Naruto, his eyes snap as Iruka comes in, and it's like, oh, all right, great. So, Iruka announces the team pairings. Squad blah, blah, squad blah. Squad number 7, Naruto Uzumaki. It's like, huh? All right. And it's like, Sakura Haruno. And this is a very interesting, because remember how Naruto reacted. He went, yeah! In the first one. It's like, now he's just in a weird turmoil. He still clearly likes Sakura, but after what just happened, what Ichimonji's been telling him about, he's like, okay. He's like, yeah, all right. He kind of just tries a different approach. Like, right, let's do our best, Sakura. It's like, what? It's like, I'm doomed. It's like, I'm doomed. It's like, and again, Naruto's just like, he's trying to get the nice guy. He's like, all right. And it's like, gee, it's like, what? I mean, I know it. And Naruto's even just contemplates, like, I know it can be annoying, but am I really that bad? It's like, admittedly, it's like, Ichimonji, I don't want to hear it right now. Just Ichimonji starts speaking. I was like, well, if you want, I was like, no. But then it's like, and Sasuke Uchiha, I'm doomed. It's like, and even Naruto, it's like, Sakura's like, yay, Naruto again. And the original was like, I'm doomed. But now she's like, Sasuke at least takes himself seriously. Seriously, maybe I can get some good training in. Maybe he can be at least a good training partner. It wasn't just so freaking full of himself. This would be great. It's like, just don't get in my way, Naruto. He says it loud enough for him. It's just like that. It's like, what did you? Fine. Like, again, Naruto's just kind of now in that fed up mood where it's like, fine. And Iruka, to surprise, is like looking at Naruto like, yeah, I'm surprised he didn't just do an outburst right there. I was he looked like he was about to. Obviously, he knows, like, I won't be with Naruto. You get the Inoshika shows. And so you get the whole, them eating their lunch. Naruto, again, trying to be nice. Like, he's just trying to, try to get to know Sakura a little bit. Because he also realizes that he actually doesn't know a lot about Sakura, except that she's pretty and gives him attention. His version of nice didn't seem to be nice to everyone else, but to him, she just treated him like crap. So she's like, hey, Sakura. And it's not like, Naruto, when he came, was like, I thought we could get lunches together, get to know each other. And which, to be fair, yeah, Naruto was overzealous, but Naruto was just trying to be nice and get to know each other. Like, seriously, what was wrong with that? But she was so freaking wrapped up with it. Now, obviously, at the end of that entire interaction, she did come around and want to try to be nicer to Naruto. I feel like in this, Naruto is Naruto is definitely getting his shit kicked in a little bit harder than normal, but he's also kind of realizing more and more how Sakura just isn't very nice to him, unfortunately, and now he's starting to wonder why he likes her. Again, pretty, sure, nice to everyone else, but not to him. It's just kind of starting to click to him a little bit. So he just, unlike before, he doesn't bother going with Sasuke because he's got someone else to talk to at least. So he just kind of sits by himself like he's used to and just eats his lunch in peace. Now, luckily, thanks to his sword seals, he does have several bowls of piping hot ramen, a nice ice-cold beverage, and some, a couple, like, chips or something like that. So he's just, eating. And it's like, oh, I'm sorry. Sorry, young love hurts, Naruto, but most young love doesn't last very long. You'll find the real thing one day, I am sure. It's like, yeah, maybe, but I can't get over her. I don't expect you to. She was your first crush, after all. There'll be some time before you actually are able to truly get over her. And then, obviously, Sakura has that interaction with Sasuke, or she would, if Naruto had actually, done anything to try to one-up and beat Sasuke like he did. He actually, actually got the jump on him. That didn't happen here, so they kind of just eat their lunches by themselves. And so that, epiphany Sakura has of how she was kind of been treating Naruto doesn't happen at this point. So now that leads us into, Kakashi meeting up with them. I do think the Princess Star Naruto still does the whole the eraser on the door and just bops Kakashi. It's like, my first opinion of all of you, you're a bunch of idiots. So, yeah, and so Naruto and them, they go and say, all right, my name's Kakashi Hatake, so introduce yourselves, well, tell us about you. My name's Kakashi Hatake, my likes and dislikes. It's like, don't really feel like talking about you, never dreams of the future. Never really thought about it. As for my hobbies, I have lots of hobbies. And so, he points to Naruto. He's like, my name is Naruto Uzumaki. My likes include, the ramen and all that. But he also includes, I also like learning about seals and practicing with my Zanpakuto. It's like Zanpakuto, and they all hear that name. It's like, oh, that's all right. That's the name. That's what my brush is. It's not, technically it's something much beyond that of a brush. But right now I'm learning to use its true power. I don't actually know its true name right now, but I hope to learn it someday. Hopefully soon, but I'm willing to wait. Anyway, my dream for the future is to be the greatest Hokage ever. That way people will begin to respect me and look up to me. And it's like, he's grown up in a very interesting way. And it seems that he finally inherited the Uzumaki's most dangerous weapon. And then obviously Sakura does all the other. I like that. I find that very hypocritical too. That she says, "I'm going to try to be nicer to Naruto. What do you hate, Naruto?" Like, wow, wow. To do my own listen. But yeah, she gets the same spiel. And again, Naruto is less like, and more like, really? Like, you hate me? Like, that I think would kind of put a bit of a nail in it. Like, even though he's still going to harbor those feelings, at least for a while, it's just becoming more and more apparent to Naruto that Sakura is just kind of not as nice or good a person as he at least initially thought. Obviously, she's just a kid. She's not evil or anything, but it doesn't sound like she's really worth the pursuing of a relationship or anything like that. So Naruto kind of makes it, I was like, okay, that's it. I give up with her. If she thinks of me that way, fine. I don't. It's just time to move on. Say, yep, must be. And Sasuke's even just kind of like, Anyway, and then Sasuke gives his spiel. And, okay, meet me at training at 7 o'clock. I believe it was 7 o'clock. He was still 3 hours late. It was either 6 or 7, one of the two. And, and don't eat breakfast or you'll puke. And so we now head off, or we now leave off with them about to start the bell exercise. Now, I do want to do a little bit of that before we end. They get there, they're waiting, and since Naruto's like, oh, God, so boring. It's like he's gonna give us some sort of test, right? Yeah. And so he leaves a clone. He leaves a clone, and just to be safe, because Ichimonji, even though it's not kind of connected with Naruto, I don't imagine Ichimonji being able to, at least something like Ichimonji, because it's so unique, being able to replicate itself multiple times. At least not at this moment. Naruto, I think, can maybe make a couple copies that also have Ichimonji. But the power is also displaced. Like, even Ichimonji's power through the Shadow Clone Jutsu would get displaced. And Ichimonji did make a note of that, saying, you could probably use me with the Shadow Clone Jutsu, but just how your chakra gets split evenly, so does my power. So be careful, Naruto. Right, and so he just leaves one clone without Ichimonji. And then picks up, he puts Ichimonji down, and then, picks it up. He's like, I'll be back. And then he starts basically making, goes out for, I'd say 45 minutes to 1 hour, and then he comes back. And so it's like, where were you? Just setting some precautions just in case. And even Sasuke's like, what do you mean precautions? You'll wait and see. I don't know what this test is going to be, but I have a feeling that because I don't know what kind of training he's going to do for us, but I just want to be prepared. Shouldn't say test. They don't know it's a test yet. So, and then obviously Kakashi eventually shows up. And so that's where we're going to leave part 2. I dilly-dallied a little bit when talking about the relationships and why I always got to reiterate how I don't hate Sakura. I just don't like the character in part. I'll rephrase that. I hate the character in part 1. I am very tolerant of the character in part 2. In fact, I actually didn't mind the character up until the second half of part 2 after the whole Pain shit. Like, that just got terrible. And then she evened out by the end and going into Boruto. From what I've seen, she actually turned into an okay character. So, yeah, and then I just had to reiterate that just because I don't tear him off with Sakura immediately doesn't necessarily mean he's going to go straight to Hinata. There are plenty of other options. We're early in this what if. I always just got to reiterate the fact that the way I do a what if, it's basically whatever changes are made from that core change in the what if. How do they basically echo throughout the remainder of the what if? And normally the story's natural progression would still be Naruto and Hinata, but that's not to say other options aren't available. Again, anyone's watched me long enough knows that's the case. I think just to list off who I know I paired him up with before. I paired him up with Tayuya. I paired him up with Tamari. I paired him up with Ino. I paired him up with Karin before. Honestly, I think I've run the gambit almost. I think Tenten's one I haven't done yet. And again, I can't say for certain if that would happen or not. There'd have to be a lot of Team 10 interactions involved in a what if for that to probably be likely. So yeah, Fu, Yukito, though Yukito is, I think, a lot older than Naruto by a decent margin. I don't do Femme Haku because there was literally a what if where Haku was female. Nothing changed. Like, Haku being female actually didn't change a damn thing about the what if. I know there's other characters too out there. Oh, there's Cloud Nin I could pair him up with. There's Kurosuchi from she's around Naruto's age. There's other female characters out there I could easily pair him off with. But that's usually not the focus of the story. And I don't usually make those the focus story because that's now just fanfic and ship-ficking, and I'm not going to do that. Anyway, I digress. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Hit that bell if you want to be notified. As always, if you want us to review something, put in the comments below. Let us know. We'll do a review of it at some point. I just would win Star Wars Superhero Magic. What if? Anything you do in the channel, put that in the comments below as well. I'll get to that at some point. Hit that bell if you want to be notified, as I said, and have a good one.